Today, I have a survey that I did in my school. Now, in the survey, there's some interesting results. So let's get into it. So first of all, I asked this question: how familiar you are with politics? And in the 18 responses I got, six said out of five, six said four, five said five, four said three, one said two, and two said one. So keep this in mind when you look at the other questions. Um, Now, next question: which political party do you support? Now, what's interesting with this question is that there's a lot of I don't know slash independent, and there's this many. Five. There's eight. I'm not affiliated or I don't know. Um, Now that's a lot considering that the majority of the people said they knew something about politics. Um, But in this, it kind of shows that a lot of people don't because they haven't chosen a party yet, or they are not convinced. So that's where some people can gain ground. Another interesting thing is that seven people support the Democratic Party. Now, I am a, on the younger side. I am technically not able to vote yet. So a lot of people my age tend to lean towards the Democratic Party and tend to be more liberal. Um, Also, I do live in a lean Democrat area, so I would actually tend to. So that's sort of what I would thought I would see with this poll part here. Now, there are two Republicans and one Libertarian here. So that's good. For what I believe, since those are the two parties I tend to support. But there are still a lot of people that aren't convinced on which party. So that gives a lot of room for political parties to grow in those areas, especially with especially with Generation Z. Um, there's still a lot of people undecided in my age group. Now, which economic ideology do you support? This next question: 50% said I don't know. Again, this goes up to the previous one where a lot of people said they knew a lot about politics, but right here it says a lot of I don't know. Um, so this shows that the Dunning Kruger effect, as usual. People overestimate how much they actually know about politics and they know how much they know about politics. Then here's the disappointing part: when you look at socialism versus capitalism, five socialism versus four capitalism for economic ideology. Now there's no communism in there. This was a funny one I put in mercantilism. Uh, there's none of those. It's just socialism versus capitalism, which socialism is actually winning right now. Um, Now, I tend to support capitalism and will continue to support capitalism. Socialism, in my opinion, doesn't work. But here, here it's showing that kids are supporting socialism. So people that support capitalism need to convince those people that that capitalism is better. Also, this socialism isn't generally the fact that a lot of kids are being convinced that it's a good idea isn't good. Um, in my opinion, um, because capitalism is what built this country and what has made this country great. Um, it has been able to build up the economy, has made us into the world's single superpower, um, which has resulted in vast economic wealth for people in the U.S. And now people are turning away from that. I don't know why. Maybe it's living conditions, but in my opinion, it's the government that's causing that, the not capitalism itself. So now let's move on to the next question. Uh, should you send supplies to Ukraine? Now, large amount of people said yes. Um, my opinion on Ukraine is that we shouldn't send any more money. My opinion on Ukraine is that we should um, threaten to remove aid to get them to the bargaining table, and then threaten Russia with sending even more advanced weaponry to get Russia to the uh, negotiating table. And once they're both at the negotiating tables, show a treaty where Russia keeps most of all of the lands that they've occupied, and Ukraine is admitted to NATO. This will stop any future Russian aggression, uh, while also stopping the war, because that Russia wouldn't attack NATO, uh, because then the U.S. would respond and nuke them. So it's a win for the United States because we don't have to spend more money on the war, in sending supplies. We also get all the killing is done, and there's no more fighting and killing of Ukrainians, Russians, and all the people there. It would stop some of the atrocities we see in there, um, stop those from advancing. It would just be a general overall good strategy. But if either of those parties don't show up in the negotiating table, um, the U.S. will have to intervene in some way, possibly to get it stopped. But this, that's what I think we should do with Ukraine. Now, a lot of people, three people said I don't know, three said maybe, and two said no. So there are people that do say no, but the vast majority still support Ukraine, as usually the most of the United States right now still supports Ukraine. So, although a lot of people don't know if we should send more supplies. So here we go. Now this one, which side should we support in the Israel-Palestine conflict? Now I really don't like the results from this one. Really, really, really don't. Now three people said neither or U.S. shouldn't get involved. Five said I don't know. The four said neither or don't get involved. Five said I don't know, and here's the bad part in my opinion. Uh, Six people support Palestine and support Palestine and Hamas. I should have probably said Hamas here, but in the survey, but Palestine, six people, and Palestine is the aggressor in this situation. So I don't know why. Maybe it's the social media um, pushing them to do so. Maybe it's the demographics of the school. Maybe Palestine and Hamas were the aggressors. They attacked on October 7th and killed over 1,000 uh, Israelis, and also many other people that were there for tourism. They attacked that one festival and killed a whole bunch of people for no reason. It was just terrorism, and that should be punished automatically. Now, I don't know what Israel should do in this situation, but I think Israel should keep on what they're doing. They should invade the Gaza Strip and try to eliminate Hamas. Targeted attacks are probably better, so there's less civilian casualties, and that's what they're doing right now. And they're also making sure they're trying to send aid to civilians and stuff like that. So it's actually, I think they should keep doing what they're doing now and put more pressure on Hamas to surrender and give up. Um, Also, there is a ceasefire going on right now. Um, as soon as they get all the hostages back, Israel should end the ceasefire and just straight attack Hamas because they still killed thousands of people. They still killed thousands of Israelis for no apparent reason, just for terrorism. So that's why I think we should support Israel and just fight the terrorism in the region. Also, it's just morally right because there is a difference between collateral damage and killing people on purpose. So now to the next question: should we spend more or less on the military? A lot of people say less. I think we should spend less overall in the entire government. But right now, I think we should leave military spending about the same. Actually, there's tensions have been increasing throughout the world. It's particularly in China, Middle East, Ukraine. So I think we should keep military spending about the same, but think we should shift military spending to different objectives. I think we should focus more on tech in the space industry and tech in submarines and highly advanced aircraft. So that's where I think we should spend the money more, but the overall budget should be left the same in this situation. Now, a lot of people said no. That is a popular trend among young people to decrease the military spending because they think it's a lot of the budget. Now, it is a decent portion, but it's more money is actually spent on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. So those are things that I would personally cut. Now, should the U.S. government increase or decrease government spending overall? I think we should decrease, especially on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Now, all those programs are targeted towards the wealthiest demographic, the baby boomers and the old people. They are more wealthy than the average person. So I think we should cut those and create a different welfare system where it's not just sending it to the old people and the well off. So I don't. So that's why I think we should. Also, government debt is at like 30, almost $40 trillion, and that is going to be a massive problem in the long term, especially for my generation. So I think we should just decrease government spending by a large margin. Should we increase or decrease government? And in this, a lot of people said decrease, even though they said socialism in the beginning. Now, three people did say increase. That honestly is a little bit surprising, but yeah, it's about the results I expected. Since a lot of the generation knows that we have a large amount of debt. Now, should the U.S. government increase or decrease or leave taxes the same? Now, think back to the socialism question. There was a lot of people that said socialism, so you expect a large amount of people wanting to increase taxes. But no, a large amount of them just wanted to say decrease. And that's because just taxes are bad for people. They don't want their money that they made, that they worked hard for, to be taken by the government. Now, a decent amount of people said increase the tax on the wealthy. Wealth tax. Should the government tax rich people and tax rich people? These two said increase. These three said rich people and not on poor people. Now, I understand that, but if you tax the rich, they are the most productive people in our society. There's a common theme on the left that the rich are causing are taking money away from the poor. No, that's not actually happening. They're actually not even. They're actually making life for the poor better because they're giving better technology, better resources to actually improve living standards. So instead of them actually decreasing by having the money they have, they are actually increasing uh, overall productivity through innovation and new technology. Um, but still, there's a lot of people that's a decrease. Um, Now, should we reform the current welfare state? A lot of people said yes. Only 1% said no. 5 people said maybe, and 6% said I don't know. Uh, Reason I would say yes is because the current because again, as I said in the previous question, uh, welfare is mostly focused towards the richest demographic, which is the baby boomers. Now, should the U.S. government increase spending on education? Uh, 13%, 13 people out of the 18 people said yes. A lot of people say yes because education is a major uh, part of their life, especially when they're kids and they're teenagers and they're in high school. So a lot of people said yes, probably said yes for that reason. I would say yes, but not the way that they're doing it now. Get rid of public schools. Well, not get rid of them entirely. Keep them, but massively decrease their funding and set up a voucher system where schools gain money based on the vouchers they get. Also, allow for more charter schools and more private schools in general. They're way better than the public schools for many, many reasons. Now, for the next question, there was should the U.S. legalize marijuana? A lot of people said no. 50% said no. I'm in the no category. It's drug. Now, I should say for medical use, I say yes. But for other uses, for recreational, no. It's massive problem. It's a gateway. well, I guess you could say it's a gateway drug, but um, it just leads to less productivity overall. Um, Same way alcohol does, and same way smoking does. So I I think we shouldn't, and a lot of people seem to agree with me on that one. Should we make legal immigration easier? Yes. A lot of people. I think that a lot of people said yes. Legal immigration, in my opinion, should be better, but it should be focused more on people that are hardworking and productive and love this country, not people that are crossing the border now, like just economic migrants. Those shouldn't. We shouldn't make that easier. We should make hardworking, productive immigrants. Make it easier for them to immigrate. Um, Now, I assume most people think that it should reform and uh, should reform. I don't know their exact reasons, but in my opinion, we should reform it. Do you think voter ID is a good idea? Um, Actually, a large amount of people said yes. Now, if you remember the Democrat majority, not majority, a large portion of the school said they are affiliated with the Democratic Party. Now, this is quite surprising because the Democratic Party actually argued against voter ID, and yet a large amount of people said yes for voter ID. There are concerns about fraud in the elections, and this would actually uh, help some of that concern go away. So that's why I think a lot of people voted for yes in that situation. Now, this one is the most unanimous out of the bunch. Do you think government corruption is a problem? Now, this one's just obvious. Everyone should think that government corruption is a problem. Just look at the Bidens. Just look at people in Congress, Nancy Pelosi, even some Republican people in Congress have become rich off of insider trading and corruption in in the government. So I think strongly that there is corruption, and there probably always will be, but we should try to limit it as much as possible. Um, Now, do you think affirmative action is a good idea? Now, this one's interesting. Um, Again, the Democratic Party tends to say yes. Now, someone says it's complicated. There's a mix between the two. Now, two people said no, and five people said yes. My position on this is affirmative action is a bad idea. It's just racism, in my opinion. It's benefiting one race over the other, which is by definition racism. And plus, doing that in any which way would actually increase racial tension and make it worse for racial minorities and for people that are in the majority. Um, just worse for them in all aspects. Um, I assume that's why two people said no. I assume why people said yes is because they tend to support the Democratic Party, and there's been racial bias in the past. So that's probably why they support it. Now, should the U.S. increase, decrease, or leave police funding the same? Now, I'm really surprised by this because this goes completely against the Democrat Party agenda. Now, a lot of people said don't know, but three people said leave it the same. Three people said decrease. Three people said increase when asked this question. So that shows that a lot of people are actually tired of there not being any police, and there should be some police. Now, there is no majority here, but it's at least good to see that there's some that think that they should uh, increase and not decrease uh, spending on the police. Now, this one goes completely against the Democratic Party. Um, 61% said no for biological men should compete in women's sports. That goes completely against the Democratic Party. That shows that uh, some people are tired of some of this stuff that the Democratic Party is doing, and they see through the absolute nonsense, in my opinion, that the Democratic Party has been saying. So that's good. Now there is a couple yeses, but that's what I would expect. But there has been large amount of pressure on the Democratic Party on this position. A large amount of them, a large percentage of people say no to this one. They should not compete in women's sports. So that's good to see, especially for the culture war. Um, Now, do you think modern feminism is good for America? Um, 4 people said no. Now, a large majority said yes. Um, um, Now, when I referred to this question, I don't think I made it clear enough. What I meant by modern feminism is feminism that's divisive between men and women, purposely putting men and women against each other and causing social problems between the two. Um, Now, I could have rephrased it like that or somewhat like that to get a different result, but still, a large amount of people support feminism uh, in in America and the modern version of feminism, which I guess they're saying the modern version, which is still the version that's dividing men and women and putting them into separate categories and fighting against each other, which is causing massive division and social issues. I don't know if they're exactly referring to that, but yes, still a large amount of people support feminism. Uh, what is your opinion on the abortion issue? Uh, Now, I heavily dislike this one, but a lot of people are pro-choice. Um, a decent amount of Americans are actually pro-choice. And I don't like to see it. In fact, this reflects pretty much the national average, which is about 60%. In fact, it's a little bit below. Um, but it's still, and some of these here are actually pro-choice too. Um, and one say, so yeah, all these right here are all these are actually pro-choice, um, but some wrote explanations for them. It's actually above average, which I don't like to see. In my opinion, pro-life is the right way to go because a new set of DNA is formed at conception, at the point where um, new DNA is formed. That's, in my opinion, that's the definition of where life starts. A new human being is created as soon as the new DNA, the entirely new set of DNA is created. So that's why I'm pro-life, and killing and aborting the baby at any point beyond that is, since you're killing a human being, it is considered, in my opinion, murder. So um, that's why I think pro life is the right choice. But I sort of expected this with pro choice being the massive option for a lot of people. Then, should we limit surveillance capabilities of FBI and CIA? A lot of people said yes. People don't like their privacy being invaded. Um, and this has become a problem, especially especially if you're into politics. It they've been FBI and CIA have spied on both campaigns, but and it's become a massive problem. Also, you just don't want to have your some you want to keep some things private, and the fact that the CIA and FBI, and I should have also included the NSA on there, have been invading your privacy. Um, it's just a lot of people really don't like that, and it invades the liberties that they think that most people think they have, and I think people should have. So that's why a lot of people would do that, and that's why I click yes. Now 6 people clicked maybe, 5 people clicked I don't know, and 5 people clicked no. for that one. Do you think gun control is a good idea? Now, a lot of kids um, and teenagers and people in Gen Z do think gun control is a good idea. Um, Now, a large portion said 12, nearly 2/3 of the responses said yes. My opinion is a no. It's astounding no. In my opinion, it's a no because guns actually save more lives. They protect against crime, and you can't always call the police in a life or death situation. And if you do, they might be too late. So, in my opinion, that's why gun control is a bad idea. Also, gun control is important to stave off authoritarianism. Um, if an authoritarian government comes in, the first thing they'll do is take away your guns because as soon as the citizens can't defend themselves, um, an authoritarian government can come in and take over. Um, so that is why I think gun control is a horrible idea. Also, it's in violation of the Second Amendment of the United States. And in my opinion, the only way to do gun control is to amend that thing. So, in my opinion, all gun control right now is actually in violation of the Second Amendment. So they would have. So you're also violating the Constitution, in my opinion, if you ever do gun control. So that's why I'm in support of it. Now, a large amount of people aren't still in support of gun control. Um, Now, do you think our politics have become toxic? Now, this is actually a large amount of people said yes. One person said they politics are inherently provocative. It is because you're debating topics that are uh, popular and controversial. If you're in politics, so uh, politics is sort of inherently provocative. Um, but in my opinion, we can talk about it in a respectful way. Where I think nowadays it's become where it's not respectful at all. People are just hating each other because of their political opinions, and they're not um, coming around to think about the other person's position and thinking why they support that. And I think that is a massive problem because if you don't do that, then there'll be massive divide like there is now. So that's why I think it's toxic, and I think it's and most people probably agree with me on that. Politics has become toxic to a degree, where uh, to a degree where it's become harmful for the nation. Um, and that's why I think a lot of people are dissatisfied with politics right now, with both political parties. Um, so yeah, um, now this poll did have a lot of contradicting statements, like they didn't follow the Democratic. And that is the final question. It did have a lot of contradicting statements and positions, especially when it comes to how much people knew and which political party they supported, because there's a lot of people that didn't go completely along with the party affiliation that they said, which I think is actually very very good, because you need to have diversity of thought even within your own political party. That's one of the reasons that I like the Republican Party right now. There's a massive diversity of thought there. Just look at the primary. That's There's massive division in the party, which I think sometimes is good. It allows for conversation. It um, allows also for some publicity um, and conversation on the topics within the own party. So it's not just one uniform party. So I think that's actually very very good. Um, and I was surprised by some of the answers. So I think so. This was a pretty good poll. Now, after this poll, I'm going to create a new poll to poll my viewers, to poll people that are watching the channel, to create a new poll to see what their leanings are and to see how they lean and to see how I'm influencing their opinions. So I would much like anybody watching to go check out that poll and And I thank you for your time. And I'm the Aiden, the Gen Z conservative, and this is my show.